On this episode of Ghostly Officers, the Belmont Paranormal Society investigates an almost 200-year-old mansion located in Dresden, Ohio. The following footage of what the crew captured as they spent the night at the Prospect Place. Viewer discretion is advised.
So my name is Amy, and I'm one of the trustees for the G.W. Adams Educational Center. So George Beale Adams bought land on the other side of the river. The Muscatine River runs diagonally to the house here. He bought land over there. He bought 160 acres at $2 an acre. He was able to pay cash. I think on my salary I could do that.
Right.
So he bought 160 acres, and about 2 months later, he then bought 4,000 acres. Because in Virginia, he had a plantation, he had slaves, and of course he had 13 kids to help him with that plantation. But because his beliefs were that all men are created equal, he didn't like that idea of slavery, and so that was why he moved up here to Ohio. Okay, so once they bought land over there, this guy grew up. By the time he was 19 years old, he was buying land. Okay? And I don't know what you guys were doing at 19. I know what I shouldn't have been doing at 19. But anyways, he started buying land and became a farmer. The next child above him was named Edward, and these two guys were real close, and they grew up, and they actually lived their lives as business partners. Here we are here, but all these green dots is all the land that they bought between Francesburg and Adams Mills. They ended up owning 14,000 acres. At one point, George even had 80 horses, and they were all spread out on these farms that he owned. So, in the late 1840s, George decided it was time to get married. He was about 46 years old at the time, and he met a young lady from the state of New York. Her name was Clarissa, and she was 23 years old, so she was much younger than him. But, you know, if you got that money, you can do that, right? So you would too. So anyways, they got married, and they ended up having 5 children. They had not bought this house yet, and I haven't figured out where they lived yet, but they had Edward, probably named for his brother, and then they had 3 daughters, Anna, Mary, and Elizabeth, and then they had a baby named George. Let's see, in 1852, it was his wife's 28th birthday. October 13th, something bad about that. Anyways, on her birthday, that baby George passed away. Okay, so that was bad enough, but then 2 months later, Clarissa herself passed away, and 2 weeks later, their son Edward passed away.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's George, and he's left with 3 daughters. Okay, and he has to raise them, but back in Victorian time, you had to wait to get married. You had to observe a period of mourning. So he did wait for 2 years before he met anybody else. But in the meantime, he bought this property. This property was 224 acres. It extended from a little bit in front of us all the way back here. Okay, so anyways, he buys this property, and he meets a young lady named Mary Jane Robinson, and she was from Coshocton, Ohio. And at this time, he's like 55, and she's about 21. But you would have done that too, you know. Okay, girl has to look out for herself. So anyways, they get married, and he's going to build this house here. And so they lived a little bit across the street, a little ways, and they could almost like step out their back door and watch this house get built. Okay, so they're building this house in 1855. And it gets about a quarter of the way done, and the whole thing catches on fire. Okay, so back to 55, 56, this house was completed, and the family was able to move in. And so they had those 3 daughters, plus Mary Jane, and started having children. She had 6 children in this house, okay? She had Sophia, James, John J., Charles, Jesse, and a baby named Florence. Is that 6?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. At the end, there will be a test. Okay, so those children all lived here and grew up here. Most investigators use this room to set up, and so you can bring your equipment in here. There's outlets and things that you can use. You can close the door if you want to keep the lights on and keep the rest of the house dark. That's up to you. You can also take the curtains down if you want and make the whole room dark. Do not discount this room, though, as far as investigating. Okay? We've had a lot of investigators that set up recorders and just listen to it later. We've actually had a question and answer session in here, and because this was the fanciest room in the house, George did a lot of business in here. If I wanted your business, I would want to show you how wealthy I am.
Right.
I want to impress you.
Right.
Okay, so that you'll say, oh yeah, sure, I'll give you money. So we had one investigator that asked George, hey, how much should I pay for stock? When they played the recorder back, what they got was $25. So in this room, what you might get, we get a lot of shadows in here. We were sitting at the dining room table and we were looking into this room and we kept seeing a shadow stick its head out like that and jump back. So don't discount this room just because it's noisy. We've had a lot of other investigators say that it's a pretty active room. This is my favorite room in the house because this is where I had my first experience in this house. About 5-6 years ago, I joined the board, and on a day like today, I was here waiting for anybody to come in just to look at the house. And so the last people had left. We still had another hour or so to go. So I sat down here in front of the window, and I just started my little old lady thing. I was crocheting, totally silent in here. But then I heard footsteps. Okay, there was footsteps out in this hallway. And it was like a hardwood heel hit that hardwood floor, slowly. And it was like coming around the corner, and it finally stopped in this doorway. And I'm sure my eyes were as big as pancakes because I am such a big chicken. I was expecting to see something, and there was nothing there. Okay, footsteps are really big in this house. Jonathan, one of our investigators, was setting up his equipment in the next room. He heard footsteps upstairs. And so he stopped what he was doing, went upstairs, listened, didn't hear anything, but then he heard footsteps downstairs. So it kind of plays with you sometimes.
Right.
Okay, so this is your one and only bathroom here tonight. George, when he built a house, he did build this as a bathroom. And there's also one upstairs, you'll see that one too. This is one of the first houses with indoor plumbing. Okay, so this was actually George's bedroom. And we have one of the only remaining fireplaces, and this was a white marble fireplace. The previous owner painted it green. I would love to strip it, but I'm sure it's going to remain green no matter what I do to it. All the other fireplaces in the house have been destroyed or stolen. George had, like I told you, he had 60 horses. He also had 13,000 sheep.
Wow.
Okay, so during the Civil War, of course, George was all about making money, and so suddenly he had sheep by 1861, and was, because he didn't before that. So he was selling wool to the government because we needed blankets, we needed uniforms. So that's another way that he was making money. Okay, so George died on August 31st, 1879. And in that journal that I was reading, it said that George, on this date, died of a consumptive chill. Okay? I don't know what that means, but when you're in here tonight, ask George, are you comfortable? Do you need another pillow? Can you breathe? Consumption, I'm thinking it's kind of a breathing thing.
Mm-hmm.
But he was 80 years old too, so I mean, could be anything.
Right.
All right, so also in here, what we've gotten, what investigators have gotten, is the sound of females. The house is primarily filled with female voices, and so sometimes we do get crying in here, and that's why we kind of think that George passed So if you had a consumptive chill and your friend knows about it, just hours after it happened and 5 miles away, no phone at that time, I'm thinking he had to have been here, and if you're at home not feeling good, you're probably in your own room.
Right, I mean, that makes sense.
And tonight, in the darkness, this is a really, really big step, and somebody's going to miss it, and they're going to face plant. Okay?
We have a
So
track
there
history.
is a lamp
We do.
behind you. If you need light, there's one there, and there's also one here.
The girls will actually like that.
Yeah, we have a track history of following our videos.
I'm sorry?
We have a track history of following our videos.
Uh-huh.
Our wives just get a kick out of it every time.
Okay. So this room here would have been more like a parlor or sitting room for the servants. If you notice, there's no fireplace or anything like that in here, so it would have just been a casual kind of room. They wouldn't have spent a whole lot of time here. This room is extremely active. Okay. Years ago, when I did investigations, there was a young man who got scratched in here. They sometimes record growling. Last year, at the end of the year, we had this big investigator, and he wasn't having much luck catching anything. He sat down on the top of the step, and his friends were all over here. They have it on film where he just suddenly jumped up because something was touching him. Okay, this room's very active. All right, so in this room, what happens in here? Again, it's mainly female voices. Jonathan was setting up his equipment in here. He just let a recorder go, and he got a female voice saying, "What's he doing?" Okay. So this room is fairly active, again, with female voices. All right, so this room here is the upstairs parlor. This is kind of like a family room. This is where the family would have made their lives here, as far as playing with toys and, just hanging out kind of stuff. The ballroom. Sometimes we do get bats up here, so if you see a bat, just duck. We also have birds. They're primarily in this fireplace over here, so you might hear some cooing. We have those pigeons. The ballroom itself is very, very active.
There's an odd smell.
Yeah, it is. It's like wet wood up here, is
Yeah.
what I smell.
It's like I've never smelled like that before.
So many, many years ago, when I used to do my investigations, we came up here one night, and it was in May. It was really warm. It wasn't windy or anything, but my friend and I, we sat on a bench right here in this location. And there was this coldness that would come over her and then me, and then it would go away. And then it would do it again. It did about 3 or 4 times. She also got recordings of a music box playing up here. We have investigators, I told you, from Mansfield, and one of them is very sensory, whatever. So she's been up here before, and she's talked with a lot of children who were hired to clean up after some of those parties that were thrown here.
This is really cool.
Reminds you of the lighthouse, doesn't it?
Well, so like whenever I was trying to do a little bit of research before we came here, and people was talking about the cupola. Well, mind you, I never heard that term in my life, a cupola, and I was like, what is a cupola? That's where when I looked it up, it showed this. I was like, oh, it's kind of like a lighthouse.
Exactly. The professional architectural term is Belvedere.
Okay,
But
Belvedere.
people call it a cupola, especially in this area, or a widow's walk.
Widow's Walk.
So you've heard that before? Okay, so obviously this is the tallest point of the house. This is their air conditioning unit. When you're standing up, all they'd have to do is open any of these windows, open some windows down below, and all the heat would rise up. So that's how they stay cool. Okay, so up here tonight, we have a light here. This is a blue light. Do not stare at it as you're turning it on. It will blind you. You don't want that. But what's really cool is if you turn this light on, turn all the other house lights off, and go out in the middle of the yard and take a picture of the house. It'll be all lit up in blue. It's really cool.
That is cool.
So when they say, this is legend, so I don't know for sure what's true and what's not.
Right.
But if there's a light up here, it activates whatever's in the barn.
Whoever's in the barn.
Which from what I had heard, again, legend because there was no sort of any factual evidence to back it, but they claimed that at one point a bounty hunter had come onto the property to essentially try to discover the Underground Railroad system that was being done here, and some of the farm hands that were here didn't really take too kindly to him being here, so they took him out to the barn and supposedly had hanged him in that barn. And so they believe that he is the spirit that resides in the barn.
Exactly.
Allegedly.
And that's the legend. We don't know how much of it is true.
Right.
And if you stand on either of these signs, you can look up and see on the second floor these giant arches.
That's
They're just
supposedly where
incredible.
That's supposedly where they hung him, was through this right here.
It
Wow.
could have
Yeah,
been
look at that
bigger.
arch.
I mean, they're just huge. They're bigger than these arches.
Right.
Oh wow.
I have had some investigators that definitely get stuff out here.
Right.
So definitely investigate here. Whatever it is, the entity out here, it likes women, but it doesn't like men.
That seems to be a common like
Yeah.
Fairfield had something like that,
Yeah.
where it had a spirit that actually we caught on camera where it stated that it liked to antagonize women for fun,
Okay.
and it was fearful of men. And
Okay.
me, I tried to poke a little bit more because I was like, it's not cool.
To start off the investigation, the group splits into two groups, where one group goes to the barn, the other group goes to the cupola and lights a light.
So we're currently making our way out to the barn, where it is said that a long time ago there was a bounty hunter that came on this property looking to discover the Underground Railroad that was here. And it is said that the farmhands that were on this property at the time did not take too kindly to him coming on this land and trying to uncover what was here. So they took him to the barn and hung him. And that's supposedly what happened. And they claim that if you light a light up in that cupola, that it will give the signal to the slaves that it's safe to come here, and it will anger the spirit of that bounty hunter that's in there. So let's go see if we can get any action stirred up in there. But anyway, so they've got that light up in the cupola. I'm actually going to take a second real quick and do a quick radio check. Make sure they're all good. Flynn to Warrington. This is a radio check, sir. There's somebody that's messing with that device. Okay. That was me. We're going to go ahead and do a spirit box session out here in the barn. See if we can get any sort of replies from something that may be out here with us. If there is somebody that's here in this barn with me, can you go ahead and give me a sign that you're here? I have two devices here that you can use to try and communicate with me. The one, if you go near it, it'll go off like you did before. The other one, all you have to do is speak into it, and it'll relay your voice to me so we can communicate. Is it true that a bounty hunter several years ago came on this property and was hung in this barn? We have a light shining in the cupola telling the slaves on this property that it is safe to come here. Does this anger you? If you want me and the rest of these slaves to leave this area and this property, make that device go off.
What was that?
What?
It's a bat.
Where?
Bat up here, dude.
I'm gonna stay low. Let me get my light on. Where at? Oh shit! I'm staying low.
I see it in the LCD screen.
Oh fuck!
Oh, it's coming for you. Go.
Sir, we're headed back to base camp.
Oh, let's get this fucking chair.
Okay. I don't see the bat no more. He's in my area. Oh, he's.
Oh shit!
Oh, go! I don't know. I see it on the LCD screen. I thought it was a fucking like.
Oh,
I just seen a black thing. Oh. He's so quick, fucker.
Trying to fucking hit us in the head.
Let's go. The team now decides to do a spirit box session throughout the house.
Are you the one that's messing with that REM pod right now?
It's like touching.
Yeah?
I don't know what
I guess it, yeah. Can you do me a favor and step away from that device for a second?
You got those. What's that smell? You smell that?
I smell it. I don't know what that is. If there's somebody that is messing with that device right now, can you go ahead and step away?
I can reset it.
I'm trying to see it go stop for a second.
Maybe too close to the table.
You think maybe?
How many spirits were here with us? I'd say 7.
I thought I heard 7 too.
7?
Is that the amount of spirits that are in this room right now? Yeah. You don't have to be afraid of us. We just want to know that you're here with us.
Is there anywhere you'd like us to go?
Thank you. Can you tell me the name of the person that's making that go off right now? Are you trying to drain the battery in it? Yeah. Well, listen, I only brought 9 of these 9-volt batteries. Can you please not drain that battery? Is there somewhere that you would like us to go?
Every time we answer, it lights up.
What is your name?
I heard John, but
John.
maybe.
Can you go ahead and repeat your name for me? John.
Did you say John?
John. Yeah, that's John. John, were you somebody that lived in this house? If you want me to leave this area, tell me where I should go. Are you standing behind me? Yeah. What's your name? Who is that? Feel free to take some energy. I have a light right here. You can steal some energy from that. There's somebody in this room with us. You go ahead and let me know that you're here. Yeah. Hi. What's your name? I have a toy here that I heard you like to play with. It's a little duck.
What's it, that one?
That one? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You want to go ahead? I'll set it on the floor here so you can play with it. It's a pretty nice toy. Could you go ahead and maybe roll it across the floor for me?
Did you hear that?
What is that?
It said, fuck you.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to invade your space here.
I think that's what it said.
I mean,
That's what it sounded like to me. Yeah, didn't it say it sounded like fuck you? Yeah.
I'm not trying to invade your space here. Right, we are up here on the second floor, in between some of the bedrooms, and we are getting ready to conduct the Estes method, see what kind of evidence. Gage, can you hear me? Okay. If there's any spirits up in this hallway or any of these rooms that would like to communicate with us, feel free to come out and speak to my friend down that hallway.
Hello.
Hi. Who is this? Who is it that I'm communicating with?
8, 11.
Are you saying that you are 8 and 11 years old, or there's 8 and 11 people? Can you maybe tell me your name?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Get out.
Who is this that's telling me to get out? What is the name of the person that's telling me to get out?
I see you.
Where are you? Where are you at in this house?
Terrified.
You're terrified? Why are you terrified?
There's a female. I couldn't tell what she said.
Mary, if this is you trying to communicate, I'm going to need you to be a little bit more clear to my friend, okay?
Yeah, right.
Hi, Mary. I'm just trying to make contact and I'm trying to know your story.
No.
Do you not want your story told, Mary?
Behind.
What are you behind?
He's back.
Who's back? What's their name? Who is it that's back?
Evil.
Evil. Who is it that's evil?
He is.
What's his name? Do you know?
Servants. He's coming.
Are you saying that this person is a servant?
That was two separate voices.
The person that's evil in this place, did someone summon them here? Are any of you moving
The
around?
basement. Go down.
Yeah.
Let's go.
You want me to go to the basement?
All the way down.
Is this another reference to the basement?
It sounded like it said, screw you.
Is this the same entity that was talking to me earlier? That is negative in this energy, in this area?
Behind you.
Are you saying you're behind me? Why don't you come touch me on the shoulder?
He's coming up the stairs.
Why don't you tell him to come and touch me on the shoulder then? If that's you, you're
There's a
trying.
little boy said you want to play.
Yeah. I actually have a little device here next to my friend that makes a lot of cool colors if you want to play with it.
Who are you?
My name's
I was a
Noah.
male voice.
My name's Noah.
He did.
I'm here to get your guys' story out, to learn what really happened in this place. And I need your
down.
Down? Are you
Down there.
Are you wanting me to discover what's in the basement? Is that what you want me to do? Is there somebody still back behind me?
Basement.
What's in the basement? You keep mentioning the basement. What is down in that basement? How many spirits are trying to communicate right now?
It's not like she said 18.
Well, that would explain why there's so many different voices coming through right now. It's a lot of people. Say die.
I'm in hiding.
You're in hiding? What are you hiding from? Sometimes it's hard to hear. You're going to have to be pretty loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty hard to communicate.
Go down to the basement.
Okay. I just need to know why. Why is it that you want me to go to the basement?
That might say slaves.
You want me to find the slaves? Are you wanting me to discover the slaves down in the basement?
Yep.
Okay. Are you wanting me to help you free them?
The crew decides to send Mark on a solo investigation, but nothing is captured.